Fear, fear, I don't have fear anymore. From that, out of that experience, the fear dissipated because I recognize that fear cripples you. Fear, fear allows you to compromise. Fear forces you to be something that you're not. And fear, it stops you from being your true self.
Welcome to Keep On Pushing Stories, where, of course, we share real life stories. We take a deep dive into these stories and the mindsets of these people who have, achieved remarkable, pushed against the obstacles, pushed past their limits and overcome. Because we think that there is something in those stories that you can learn from. And so this morning, I'm excited to welcome Cornelia Walters-Jones to the show. Cornelia, welcome to Keep On Pushing Stories.
Thank you, Devon. Thank you for having me.
Indeed. So, right off the bat, Cornelia, please tell us what it is that you do. How do you serve? How do you bring value to the lives of others?
Right. So I wear many hats and I'm asked many times, how do I do it? And it's all so God, so God. So my day job is I am the divisional project manager for the Grace Foods International team, which serves US, UK, Canada, Belize, and all the other areas, Laco, where we do business, right? I'm also a published author. have now 6 books published. I have a nonprofit organization, which is Andrew and Fresh Charity Foundation. I'm a director for that, where we use our funds that we garner from our wages and we help underprivileged people in the areas such as St. Mary, Clarendon, and all over. And I just recently launched the Hug Club, which is one of the initiatives that we're going to try to go into high schools all over Jamaica and offer free hugs to the children. Those parents who don't are not those lovey-dovey type of parent. Yeah, there's a crisis and we're going to address it.
Indeed, indeed. Well, I live here in America where people talk about how Jamaicans have several jobs, and you are the quintessential Jamaican. Welcome, congratulations. uh, so, I mean, in all of those hats that you wear, if someone wanted to connect with you, maybe it's because of some business interest with Grace Kennedy, or perhaps it has to do with your foundational work. They wanted to, you know, donate, support in any way as an author. How would they find you, Cornelia?
Just Google me, Dr. Cornelia Walters-Jones, on all social media platforms. And on Facebook, it's JamaicanGal.com.
Jamaican gal. That's always great to be chatting with a Jamaican gal.
Absolutely.
Yes. So Miss Jamaican gal,
Yes.
we definitely want to know your Keep On Pushing story. Would love to hear of a time, Cornelia, when you had to overcome a significant hurdle or push out of your comfort zone. So please do tell us.
Absolutely. So, as I said, I come from a very humble background, right? I grew up in St. Mary, went to St. Mary High School, and my parents were not the ones to be able to finance my education. So I was very fortunate and blessed to win a scholarship from the Mexican government, right? And so I went to Mexico in 2005. Now, how it works to do a first degree. So how it works now, you're supposed to go into Mexico, study for a year, and then compete against the Mexicans to get into their public universities. I had gone to April, and so they told us we were going to be there for a year, and then they cut it down and said, no, all right, you have to find a school by August. So it was 4 months I had in Spanish to really get on board and try. So I took the exam, of course, with 4 months of Spanish. I was not successful, so I could not get the free education. So then we had a crisis. It's either you try to stay and go to a private school and pay for it, or you come back home with nothing. And I am not a quitter, right? So I found a school and work it out because you get a stipend every month. I said, okay, I'm gonna pay for this for school and that for. I said I lived at a very modest apartment, so I could be able to afford comfortable to live. So I didn't go to a expensive school, but it was like mid, right? So I went to school and my first degree was in international trade and customs. And you know, international trade and customs, you look at logistics, exports. And so we had a trip to Mexico City where we're gonna look at visit one of the largest custom agencies in Mexico, looking at tariff codes and the different shipping ports and different containers and all of that. So we did a trip. The entire school went on the trip because they merged the international trade students as well as the law students. So we went on our merry way. After the meeting, we went to the custom agency. There's a restaurant chain in Mexico called Vips, which is all around. There's many stores all around Mexico. It's a very famous Mexican restaurant. But because Mexico City is an international city, right? You have Popeyes, you have KFC, you have Church's Chicken. Because I gone that you don't have a lot of those in Puebla, which was the state which is what we were in. So I said, no, I don't want to go to Vips. And the guide or the head for the tour was like, no, we're going to Vips. We're going to Vips. So I'm like, but I'm not a child. First of all, I have to pay for my own lunch and you're going to force me to go to a Mexico. I don't want to go. So I said, no, I'm not going to go. I will see you here at 4. So, Devon, I turned and I left and I looked, everybody was behind me going about their business. So, Mexican men are very macho. And that was a very disrespect for him. That was very disrespectful. So, him called the director of the school. And when we came back at 4, one piece of excitement and, was like, yeah, he was very upset, right, that he was defied because he's a lawyer, right? Anyway, go back and I thought that, okay, what's going to be the end of it? End of what? You see, the Monday when I go to school, they wanted to suspend me. Now, one of the things is that when you suspend a person or you suspend a person on a scholarship, that is right off the board, you lose your scholarship. You have to go back.
Yeah.
You have to go back home, So they took stories and them write everybody write what happened and they handed it into the director of the university. I went to school the next day. They came, took all the other children and left me in the class. And said that they were going to call the Fuerza Pública, which is the police. So I said, well, call them. Because, the Jamaican chaos, you can't.
Exactly, yeah.
Afraid away. So, anyways, when they recognize that I'm not budging, I was unfazed. Because one of the things with Mexicans, they're not confrontational. They're not confident. They'll be upset, but they will be diplomatic about it. And I am a racha person, which I found has followed me right along my life and caused many problems because I'm considered abrasive, I'm considered directive, I'm considered combative, right? Not a problem. So when I recognized that this was going nowhere, and then I had some Surinamese as well, from the same scholarship place, got scholarship on the same program now, 3 of them. Bless their hearts, they were like, oh my God, Cornelia, you have to apologize, man, because you're gonna lose your scholarship. And I said, no. If me not sorry, me not apologize. Me sorry. If me not sorry, but I didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
Nobody was willing for me. No, the same children, the same students, who followed me, nobody got reprimanded,
Well, you are the ringleader, no?
I was the sacrificial lamb. Well, let me tell you, anyways, I had a friend, and that's one of the things. When I go anywhere, I make friends everywhere because that's my personality. I am the life of the party, and I talk to everybody. I had a friend named Elizabeth. She worked with the Ministry of Education. She was a director for a school. So I told her, I said, Elizabeth, they wanted to suspend. She said, what do you mean by it? And I told her everything. So she said, no. When I started to tell her that, they wanted to call police on me and them never wanted me to have no class or nothing, like they didn't want me to come nowhere on their compound, the school, the university compound, nowhere, I was allowed nowhere on the school. She says, no, this sounds ridiculous. Anyways, she called the Ministry of Education, which is the highest in the state. And she called and set a meeting. So I went to the meeting. When I went to the meeting, the head, she said, like the minister said to me, what is your grade point average? I said 100. That's another story itself, Devon. 100 at the time, 100 was my grade, was my average, 100. She says, do you owe the school any money? I said, no, I don't owe them no money. I pay them because that's the first thing come out of my stipend because I don't want to owe them.
Right.
She said, no, that's just tell me from beginning to the end because it not add up. The math was not mathing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I tell her from beginning to the end, went there, never want to eat, and they want to force us to eat there. And I said, no, we'll meet you here at 4. And I went, and everybody went, and I'm the only one being. So she sat there and she looked at me and she says, I want to personally apologize to you. Please do not take this situation and brand every Mexican as this. This is not how we operate. And so she called the school. So she called the school now. She says, I am director so-and-so. Can I speak to Ingeniero Armando? I don't remember the man name. So come on, because he known. And she says, tell me, Ingeniero, what is this? I have Cornelia Walters. I was married at the time. Cornelia Walters here. All of this is in Spanish, right? I have Cornelia Walters here, and she had some very disturbing accusations. Very disturbing accusation of the university. And so he confirmed, he confirmed everything that I was saying. And she said, let me tell you something. If she's not reinstated by Monday morning, please know that I will come and personally close down your university. Devon, you see, when I went back Monday morning, listen, I went back Wednesday morning, the engineer personally came to me, met me at the gate.
Mm-hmm.
And offered me coffee.
All right.
I just want to apologize for the misunderstanding. And hopes and all of that. Before I left, the minister said to me, this is my number, this is my email. If you ever have any issue at all, you call me. Now, I said this, I'm telling the story now because I'm out of it, Devon. But let me tell you, the duress that I was under. You can imagine. I knew the consequences of if it went the other way, what I was losing, what was on the line. I knew. But even though I knew I was going to ship me back on my yard, I'm going to lose my scholarship, I'm going to come back empty-handed, I had to stand up for myself. I had to, what me, I had to stand up. Because why would I apologize just to appease people? I didn't do anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So all I know, and all the time, this was happening. I was being ostracized, Nobody no call me, nobody no wanted to be associated with me,
Just in case, because you're
The
associated
repercussion, they wasn't willing
Mm-hmm.
because they are going to lose them scholarship, especially the Sudanese as well. They weren't willing to associate with me because they knew they might lose their scholarship. And I understand. And then, you know what I understood in that moment, at the end of the day, I'm me and God. Me and God are one, I tried. Me and God are one. And it has always been like that, Devon. Me and God one, I tried all the way through. So what did I learn about myself? That you might ask me. Me did born with a invisible peer. I know. I knew from then that I had an invisible peer. You know of what? I can't say it on your life.
Yeah.
And fear, I don't have fear anymore. From that, out of that experience, the fear dissipated because I recognize that fear cripples you. Fear allows you to compromise. Fear forces you to be something that you're not. And fear, it stops you from being your true self.
Indeed, indeed. So, I'm just sitting here thinking about you in the middle of it. As I said, far removed from it now, but the word you use, duress.
Yes.
Because your future is on the line. And then these people
Yes.
can basically upend your future.
Absolutely.
Where you
Absolutely.
think you got that? And I understand definitely the principle and the finance that comes with, I didn't do anything wrong, so I'm not going to apologize. But where do you think that strength, that courage comes from?
From my ancestors. My father's Maroon. And my mother is Indian, and we come from the Sheiks. We trace our family from the Sheiks. It comes from a blood. It comes from, and the Maroons. My set of Maroons are from Nigeria, the most boisterous, the most rebellious set of slaves came to Jamaica, and I'm from that. And some people say, you see, the bloodline, and this is another all over another series. Devon, we talk about
Exactly.
bloodline. Sometimes that is why we behave the way we behave. And when people don't understand Jamaicans we is a different set of people. We are a different set of people when it comes on. You notice, oh, when other people behave when them see celebrity, we too is just another person. We're not afraid of nobody, we're not frightened for nobody. We
Yeah.
humble anybody any day. Like
Yeah, talk about that all the time.
you're not better than me, no day, no how.
Yeah,
Me not
yeah, 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 yeah. So Cornelia,
from
you know,
my bloodline. Mhm.
yeah, what would you advise someone who is not of maroon blood, who but does find themselves in that precarious situation, and they actually need to stand up for themselves? That's I'm going to call it the stronger play here, and they may feel some intrepidation. How do they work through that?
You have to, at the end of the day, you have to commit to it. You have to know who you are. And a lot of us, we don't know who we are. And as I said, because of fear cripples you because you're afraid you're in this job not going anywhere, you're afraid because you're afraid you're not gonna find anything. It does, but you might go there and find something better. Or you
Mhm.
might find you go there and find something worse. It is a risk. It is a risk. Everything that we're doing in this life is a risk. And you have to bet me, I believe you have to bet on yourself. You have to bet on yourself.
I love that. Bet on yourself. Take risk. Because you're right. Nothing that we do in life is guaranteed, is it?
No. And we might make a decision and it don't come out in our favor. Okay. We learn. Everything is a learning process. Now, 42 years old, there's nothing bad that happens to me, Devon, that I don't look at it as a learning lesson. Okay. That person was not in my favor. Okay. Listen, for my entire life, Devon, I have been I have been labeled abrasive, feisty, all the words that are for men. If it was a man, they say, oh my God, him take care of business and him, because we're women as well, they expect us to be soft and soft spoken and be submissive, right? But if we do in the type of business and boardrooms that we are, being submissive and silent don't get you anywhere.
So you touch on a really important point here, especially for young girls and young women coming up. Maybe they are not as feisty and abrasive as you are, but they still need to find a way to be assertive in the workplace because you're right to say, and we know this to be true, that women tend to get left behind, so to speak.
Because they
Um,
don't talk up, because they don't talk up, they're waiting for the chance to speak. And you see it when you go in a meeting, the men them they just feel it's part of who they are. They believe that they are the head or the lead and that, but then again, it comes on to background. Now, my matriarch, my grandmother, she's like 100 man in one. My mother. No, it's the truth. Like my grandmother was a businesswoman. She sold in Coronation Market. She alone. And she needed no none of the bad man them was to come trouble the other people them round and intimidate them for take away them and give them money. And my grandmother was say, listen, man, Mama kick out to 80. Don't come back over here. So she was a warrior.
yeah.
And then I am standing on the shoulder of these giants. I mean, I saw nothing less than great women. You know what I mean? And they would say to me, don't be afraid. Speak your mind. When you're given the platform as well to be your true self and to speak your mind. Because that's another thing, a lot of us as parents, we shut up the pin of them. Happy nice. Big people attack. You are so much time when your child would say other people, not me. Because I was
Mhm.
very blessed. told how many times, shut up your mouth. Don't, when people attack, don't interject. I no opinion, yeah, pick me, no
Yes,
opinion.
children must be
Nobody
seen
go
and
back.
not heard. Mm-hmm.
Nobody goes back to these people and say it's time for you to talk now. So them go with that same attitude in the workplace, attitude in the boardroom. Nobody tell them, okay, you can speak now. And a lot of managers as well were former plantation. That's another thing, Devon. Them a former farmer slave come plantation. Oh, listen to me. The worst type of manager is a farmer slave, you know.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Mm-hmm.
come because they're gonna give you the blunt of it. But again, the space. If they're given the space to be themselves, to speak openly and be respected, then of
Yeah,
course, they will flourish.
indeed.
And then if them sister
So,
them not get the chance, and every way you land, you gone are the days when people would stay in an organization for 35, 40 years. No, no. If there are people who comes 2, 3 years, if you don't find your tribe there, move on. That's my philosophy. If you don't find your tribe where you are, just move right along
yeah. So, in
until you
other
find
words,
until you find your
keep
tribe.
betting on yourself, keep taking the
Keep betting
risk.
on yourself and move on, because let me tell you have people who are in organizations and they love where they are, and that's okay. People might call them, oh, they're not ambitious, they don't want to do that. No, people know what they want out of life, and you have to respect them for that. But you have some who are ambitious and they don't feel like the place that they're in right now in their life is where they want to be. Do something about it.
Yeah,
Stop complaining. You have the key. Me believes you have the key to your happiness. If you're not, and this goes right across the board, if you're in an organization that you feel like you don't belong, move. If in a relationship that you feel like you're not being respected, move along. If you
mm-hmm.
have a business and it now make no money, lock it down, move on to the next one. Why do we perpetuate the pain and the I don't understand, why is it that we don't, people are afraid. I'm afraid. Why are we so afraid? I don't understand. We're so afraid.
Indeed. So what I'm hearing here is the maroon blood, the maroon attitude, betting on yourself, taking risks, because we know nothing in life is guaranteed. Cornelia, wow, refreshing, I tell you, to be talking to you. Thank you for sharing that, because I think whether it's in a university, situation as with you, or your business or relationship, as you just said, being able to stand in your truth and being able to accept who you are and assert that is really important. Um, we have been blessed to be blessed with your story. Thank you for spending time with us.
No, thank you for having me. Like, and just one thing before I go, which is very important. Don't tread alone. Carry God with you.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. I
That's
love
it.
that.
Just bring God with you and you will be fine.
That's an army right there, guys. If
Yes.
you if you enjoyed this, if you found benefit from it, please hit the subscribe button. But also make sure you share this with others, because I think they could also benefit as well. Uh, Stay tuned. Come back next week for another amazing, inspiring episode. Until then, keep on pushing.